I want to commence this beautiful day by remembering our loving Guruji. It is his intention, his selfless love for all of us, which has brought us all together this morning. So I first want to offer my respect and immense gratitude to Sri Sri Muralidhara Swamigal, because of whom today I have the opportunity to stand in front of you as someone that you want to, if I may say so, look up to and ask questions on how did you get here. If I were to reflect back on my journey, which is what I was told by Janani that I should speak a few minutes about, right from my very, very early childhood, certain characters about my personality was very evident. I'll talk about it. Although that was evident, what was not clear, both to me and to my parents and to the larger circle of family around us, is whether these characteristics, these core nature of Renuka is going to be helpful to her or harmful to her. So, certain characteristics were obviously very helpful. So, for instance, wanting to excel. So, excelling in academics and getting very, very high scores and beating the number 2 person by a huge margin was always a very, very important pursuit for me. I don't know why, but that is who I was. So that was something everyone thought was a very good thing, because you want to really be outstanding in what you do. Hard work came very naturally to me. In fact, my parents have had a very, very tough time snatching away books from me, saying, go get some rest, you don't have to work this hard. Because later when I went on to do my engineering and so on, as the only girl child in the class, I had no support from my colleagues. Most of my classmates were living in hostels and doing group studies. I was the only one traveling from home. So it was a very lonely and a very challenging journey, because when I went to engineering college, people said, you're wasting a seat. What are you going to do after getting an engineering degree? You're only going to get married and raise some children at home, and you have denied opportunity for a man to have grabbed your seat and made some meaning out of it. So it used to be a combative environment, to say the least, when more than 40 years back, 45 years back, when I went to an engineering college and I was the only girl student in my class. But all through, if I were to look back, a passionate commitment to excel in my academic pursuit was quite a distinctive characteristic of myself. But besides this, I had a few other characteristics. One is to be very argumentative. I would have an opinion about everything, literally everything, from the food that is cooked to, big issues about economics in this country. And I would passionately argue and not give in so easily and submissively, either to power or to a male gender or to someone who is just older to me. Because I felt that an argument has to be won through another equally compelling argument, and one should not be kind of submissive. The second thing was to pursue a different path from the conventional path when it came to education. So I went and did textile engineering, which was a completely male-dominated field. The fact that I was the only girl child, I went to a college called VJTI, which is a very good government college in Maharashtra. And in 92 years, VJT had completed 92 years when I joined the college in 1978. I was only the fourth girl student to pursue that line of specialization. That did not put me off. The fact that there are no jobs for women, in fact, I was dissuaded by the college principal that please don't pursue this line because nobody will give you a job. That did not put me off. Everything seemed like a very interesting challenge, an interesting opportunity for me to break the glass ceiling and prove that everything that you say is not possible, I will show you how it is possible, and by creating a new benchmark. So, while in my early childhood, this attitude to make an effective new argument, hold my ground, not being conformist, not getting pushed back that no other woman has done it, or we may not have enough money at home to see me through my entire education, or what will happen, whether my parents will find an equivalent match for me, because one of the big arguments those days, I mean, imagine more than 40 years back, the big argument at home is if you educate your girl child, I did my engineering, I did my MBA, how are you going to find an equivalent match? Will this girl remain unmarried? Will that become a shame for the family? So there were lots of questions which are not pertinent today. But none of this, the reason I share is that I never allowed any of these conventional thinking coming from limitations, thinking coming from conforming to the past, thinking coming from a very narrow-minded approach to life, thinking coming from other people's limitations, because people who come and give you these kind of highly cautious, walking down a very narrow labyrinth of previously established successful path are coming from their limitations of thinking. Nobody thinks for what is your full potential. You alone can think for what is your full potential and commit your life with devotion to that cause. If when I started my career with ICICI in 1986, where I spent about 23 years, and in all 23 years, not on a single day, I have done a business which was already well established in ICICI. Every day of my time was spent in building a new business. In the early stages, they gave me an opportunity to develop a new business called merchant banking, which was non-existent in India. So I had to evangelize what is merchant banking. So go and talk to companies about how we can help them raise debt and equity and finance their projects, for which we would get paid fees. Thereafter, we got into a joint venture with a global investment bank called JP Morgan, which required us to change from being a merchant banker to become an investment banker. That means you're putting your money where your mouth is. This again required an order of magnitude change in thinking and bringing global financial products into Indian corporates. From there, they asked me to go and set up something called structured finance. When this job was given to me, nobody, including ICICI, knew what is structured finance. They only knew that the balance sheet was getting very risky and we need to do something about it. And we have to do something very fast. And we have to do something very big because we were already sitting on 10,000 crores of a bank balance sheet, which was not healthy. So that was a mandate that was given to me. So it is not that you're given infinite time or a whole host of help saying, I will hold your hand and tell you how you'll build this business. This is a one-line mandate. Renuka, next year 40% of our incremental business has to come from structured assets. You go figure it out. This is when I don't know the product, I don't have a team, I don't know how to go and sell this product to a potential company, and how will this all come together. This was a phenomenal turning point in my life because this was true entrepreneurship. I had to first understand the technology of this product. I did a joint venture with a very large structured finance institution in the US. Created a team, which means I had to sell this non-existent concept to a bunch of people and tell them, please follow me, we will go and build something. Once we did this, we realized that we alone cannot be creating a market, right? If a market has to be created, many institutions have to buy this product. So I had to go and tell LIC, Punjab National Bank, Bank of India, Indian Overseas Bank, everyone that, listen, this is a much better way for you to give loan than the way you have been doing. So it involved for me to go and sell this product to a whole host of institutions who have a closed mind to this. After I opened up all of this, we needed regulations. Because how are you going to account for this product in your balance sheet, right? Is this off balance sheet financing? How will an accountant look at it? How will an auditor audit for it? How will Reserve Bank of India govern it? How will securities market trade in it? How will a rating agency rate this product? So it required building an entire ecosystem around this product so that it has a life and an independent existence. Thereafter, it became 20, 30,000 crores in a matter of 3 to 5 years. So this was for me my stepping stone to entrepreneurship, evangelizing a new product and building an entire ecosystem and market around this new financial product. From there, I took a short sabbatical. I went to Harvard Business School. It was yet another turning point of my life where I got so close to entrepreneurship through the case studies that were presented as a medium of education in Harvard. When I came back, I told my boss, I'm too bored with what I'm doing. I want to do something completely new. E-commerce was a big thing that was going on in the world. Can I go and build the e-commerce business for ICICI? Once again, what is e-commerce? What are you going to do sitting in ICICI with e-commerce? Are you going to run the e-channels for all our businesses? I don't want you to do that because I want the person who is running the home loans business to run the e-channel because it is just another channel. So what are you going to do? I decided that I'll build the expertise to do e-commerce business. What should be the right technology platforms that we should use? How should we think about data, right? And what are the new ventures we can do using internet as a technology? That allowed me to expand my mind, and I created a number of e-commerce ventures within ICICI. One of the most successful there was setting up India's very first bill payment company. Thereafter, I went and set up India's very first internet payment gateway, and so on. Was there an example that I could copy? Absolutely no. Was there any guarantee that what I am getting ready to do will be successful? Absolutely no. Was there a guarantee that I will be forgiven if some of these things fail? Absolutely no. And what if I get thrown out of ICICI for doing a whole lot of things? Everything turned out to be a failure. Is there a career for me outside of ICICI? No answer. Can I afford not to have a job? Absolutely no. My family is dependent on my income. I'm the only breadwinner in the family. I have 2 tiny children who have to be sent to school. I have parents who have to be looked after. I'm staying in an ICICI house, so I have no house of my own. I have nothing. But yet, the calling inside me was so strong that I will not pursue the beaten path, whatever be the risks associated with what I am doing. Many of them turned out to be enormous success because of the focus, the hard work, the core nature that I spoke about in the beginning, which is no matter what I pursue, I will give it my 500% and I will come out a winner. Failure is not an acceptable outcome. If it requires working 36 hours in a 24-hour day, I will do it. As my destiny would have it, later I was sent to ICICI Venture to head the institution. I scaled up that institution. It was a loss-making company. I made it a $2.5 billion company in a very short span of 8.5 years, and then stepped away with a huge credit balance of lot of goodwill in the market. Because in my 23 years in ICICI, I worked with several people, several institutions who benefited from everything that I did, who said, I will put you in business. This is our time to repay to you all the good things that you have done for us over years. So it was a stepping away from ICICI to bring the hard work, goodwill, knowledge, capability, circle of influence, circle of connections that I had into Multiples. So Multiples was set up in 2009 with an intention to bring international capital and domestic capital and give it to budding entrepreneurs to go out and build enterprises which will be useful to society. Today we are a $3 billion firm. We have been, by grace of God, extremely successful. I can go on and on. We have about 30 companies in our portfolio. But what is at the core of all of this is a defining purpose. That's what Guruji calls as becoming and not acquiring. 40 years back, did I do anything to say that one day I want to be known as the first lady of private equity? One day I want to get into these magazines to be known as a successful businesswoman. One day I will be known as the first ever woman director and woman chairman in a Tata Group. Absolutely no. I had no clue what I will become. But the only thing I knew, which has guided my life, is to do something purposeful. It is this purpose of making something useful to society which will keep the economic engine going that has kept me going for the last 40 years and continues to keep me going. But in all of this, it is very, very, very important to know that your effort is extremely important. Your commitment is extremely, extremely important. But you need the divine blessings of the universe. It is people like our Guruji who bring that divine blessings to our lives unconditionally. What does Guruji want from us? Be happy. Be the best version of yourself. Do something that makes you proud of yourself. Do something which becomes a role model for other people to emulate. So that humility to know that my effort is only a portion of what my success is. And if I had not had the divine blessings of elders in the family, of the faith that we pursue, and of our gurus, we cannot become who we become. I was always a very keen listener. We always think that people who say, seri pannupa, nee pandrathu romba sari, nee dhaan correct ellam pannuve. We think they are very helpful to us and we lean on them. Actually, people who criticize us are even more helpful to us because they tell you all the pitfalls in what you are doing, or all the risks that can happen, all the failures that can happen in what you are doing. Please listen to that very carefully. and take it as a very sound advice coming in a bitter pill. Because you want everybody to say, everything is good, you go, you're the greatest. They are very helpful because you need that encouragement. But you also need someone who will tell you what could go wrong. And the way I would use that is not to push myself back, to worry about, oh my God, this guy says this can go wrong, should I do it or not do it? But I will say, oh, if these are the things that can go wrong, how do I prepare myself such that when that situation happens, I am very well prepared and I can tackle it. So listen actively, still pursue your own goals, align the universe, keep the humility, and above all, there is absolutely no substitute to hard work. The substitute to hard work is harder work. And the substitute to harder work is hardest work. The substitute to hardest work is inhuman work. Even today, I landed from US yesterday. I took another flight and I've come here to Chennai to be in front of all of you. Right? So, do I want more glory? Do I want more money? Do I want more deals? Do I want anything from any of you? By grace of God, none. But that is my character. I made a commitment. I have to be here. Right? So please, in this era of internet, we think that everything is magic. We think that some influencers are making a lot of money. So let me also go and sell a shaving cream on internet platform and suddenly I'll become a hero. You can become a hero. It'll last like a flash in the pan. Just because you have Chrome, it doesn't change anything. Some of the fundamental life principles will remain the same even 1,000 years from now, and it has been so for the last 3,000 years. Therefore, please embrace hard work. Please embrace putting deep roots into your passion. Whether you become a doctor or an accountant or an engineer or a dancer or an artist or a stage actor, putting those hours and learning and becoming better and better version of yourself is the only route to becoming, as Guruji said. The real positive news is in my lifetime, the GDP of this country grew from probably $500 million to today, not $500 million, probably it was 10 or 20 billion when I started my career to $2.5 trillion today in your lifetime, which is going to be the next 30 to 50 years. We are going to see India becoming a 30 to 50 trillion dollar economy, right? The opportunity that you have in no matter what vocation you choose is mind-boggling. But we have some very important job to do, which you have to do, which is bridging the gap between the rich and the poor. Just to say that I will look after myself and I will become richer and richer cannot be a meaningful life. It's not even going to be a sustainable life going forward. So in everything that you do, please take that 1 second to think about for whose life am I improving because of what I am doing? And can I be a little more purposeful to society? That's going to be a very important job. 2, India cannot grow on the back of top 40 cities and towns. We have to build an inclusive India. People in the remotest corner of India have to get the good services, privileges that each of you sitting here in Chennai are enjoying. So what can I do to build an inclusive India? In terms of just, can every Indian be equally privileged? We have to bridge the gap of gender diversity. Half our population is women. How do we unlock the potential in women? all of you boys and girls have to think about how do I remove inequities in society, whether the inequities exist in gender, in race, in caste, in backwardness, in economic status. There are 1,000 ways in which we know to divide. We need to figure out the way in which we can unite. And all of these jobs rest in the beautiful hands of all of you. And I'm very, very sure you will make our country a country that the whole world would want to emulate and make every citizen in this country proud to be an Indian. Thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Happy to take questions. Yeah.